let's go, and welcome to the Art of Music Tech podcast. We have a little video element to it today. So I'm Fayla, the host, and there's Dennis.
Hello.
And our guest today, Kwiz.
What up? What up?
Hey, Kwiz.
What up?
Kwiz is a producer, engineer, playback engineer for Beyoncé. So come on. I mean, the queen. Let's go.
Yeah.
So welcome, Kwiz.
Thank you for having me. I
All
love
right.
you, studio.
Welcome.
Love you,
Thank
studio. This is
you.
dope.
Thank you, sir.
Coming
Yeah.
out to One of One Production Studio
Yeah.
out here in Fort Lee.
Yeah, this is dope.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. A
Nah.
lot of hard work put into it.
Yeah, I
and,
see. I see, and it's paid off.
Thank you.
Hey, you own the studio yourself, so you know
Yes.
the
Yeah,
struggle
I know
and
I
hustle.
know the struggle and
You
what it
would've-
takes to put it together.
You were the spark for this place
Oh,
8
wow.
years ago.
Wow.
When I visited your place, I was like, I gotta start buying gear. I was like, I held out. I was like, I'm just doing live. You were like, you need to diversify. And I
Yeah,
saw
no
your
doubt.
spot. I was like, you're right.
yeah. I mean,
And hey, you know, it did. It worked out.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
really
yeah,
worked out. So thank you again, Kwiz.
Mhm,
And
Nah.
Kwiz, thank you.
you've
I've
been on
been
the
to your
pod-
studio several times. so
Yeah.
I love it.
thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. man.
You've been on the podcast before. Actually,
Mhm.
before it was
Right.
at your place. So,
Right.
yeah, thank you for hopping over the bridge
all good.
and coming this way.
It's all good.
So yeah, let's get into it. So, what you been up to lately?
Well, December 18 was the last gig I did with Beyonce. We had to do a couple of shows overseas, one in South Africa, one in India. And then, she was taking a break and working on her other stuff. And, I usually go back to, I do music for ESPN, freelance composer for
Yeah.
ESPN, producing and
I see it on
recording.
Facebook whenever you post it.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
And then, producing and engineering for other indie artists, mixing, So that's what I've been doing, man.
Yeah.
Working on my wife's album.
Okay.
It's all good.
All right. Full album. or
Yeah,
EP, or- all
Nah,
right.
it's gonna be a full album. I mean,
Nice.
it started as an EP,
EP.
and then she was like, you know what? Let's just do the whole. I was like, all right, well, this is what I've been saying from day one, but
Yeah.
let's do it. You know what I mean? We
Let's
got the
go.
material, so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So now we're just kind of like whittling down what we're gonna put out, and she's got to write a couple of more songs. But
Mhm.
yeah, we've been
Nice.
You
doing that.
compose too, or she would write everything, or
No,
you
she
produce?
writes. No, she writes lyrics, and she does pretty much all of her vocal arrangements.
Okay, great.
You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I used to vocal arrange. Well, I vocal arrange, but I've been blessed to work with a few dope artists that is like I don't even need to step in that lane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like do your thing.
Do
you know
your
what I mean?
thing.
Bases covered.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, and you didn't really mention, but yeah, she sings. She's in Beyonce's backing
Yeah.
vocals. So
Tiffany Monique.
mean-
Tiffany Monique. Man.
yes, she's the truth.
We need to interview your wife too.
Oh, yes,
she'd love it.
Please.
Yeah, y'all can check her out. TiffanyMonique.com.
Yes, she's
dope.
working on
Black Girls Rock right now. Yeah.
as we speak,
Yeah,
as
she's
we
in rehearsals
record.
for that right now.
Oh man, let's
Yeah.
go! Shout out to Kim Burse, who's also
No doubt.
a part of that as well.
KBZ.
Yes. She's been on the show as well. So
Yeah.
yes. So everybody's a friend of the show.
No doubt.
Good. And speaking of Beyonce, I don't even think Homecoming had come out on Netflix.
Right.
When the last time we spoke. So
Right.
tell us, what were you a part of on that, production wise?
Playback engineer,
Yeah.
programmer. That was 6 months of rehearsals for 2 shows.
6 months.
6 months of
every day,
rehearsals.
5 days a week.
Yeah. No, 7 days a week.
Every day
Every day.
for 6 months.
Yeah.
Wow, dedication.
Yeah,
is it.
there were like pockets of days off, but
Okay.
for the most part,
Uh-huh.
it was like every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's Beyonce's
like professional
schedule
sport, just every day.
Yeah,
No
it's
birthday.
every
No.
day.
Yeah, it's grueling. It's satisfying at the same time, especially when you see the end result.
Exactly.
But while you're going through it, you're like, damn. You know what I mean? Because there's so many elements. And if you saw the show on Netflix, there's so many elements of that show.
Because they knew it would be filmed too, right?
Right.
Yeah,
of course.
yeah, that's
of
cool.
course.
So,
There's-
I knew something was up when I heard you saying, "Yeah, we're rehearsing in November for Coachella." I was like,
Right.
"November,
Right. Exactly.
what? Who? What?"
Yup.
Then it all snapped into focus when I saw that Netflix thing. I was like, "Oh, okay,
Right.
I see what you were doing."
You saw the band, like that huge marching band that was there, the
Yes.
dancers, the batons. It was crazy. Yeah.
Black Homecoming.
Yeah.
Just on 1,000. It was
Exactly.
It was-
Exactly. And then just the way that stage was set up and it was just like just watching that whole thing come together.
slowly
And-
over that 6 months
Right, right.
of work.
Right.
7 days a week. Yes.
Right. And that pyramid stage, there were 2 of them. We had to, the dancers and the band had to rehearse on the mock-up.
So
And
they
then-
built a mock-up stage just for that.
Yeah, because literally that whole thing was, the set was designed and they were finalizing certain things while we were rehearsing. So they had to have a mock-up so they can at least start mapping out the choreography on how
okay.
people are going to go up and down the steps, what dances are going to happen, and then like literally on one side of this, in this rehearsal space, there was the mock-up. On the other side, they were still modifying the actual.
Thing.
So it was intense. And there were multiple stages that we were at. We had the band rehearsal stage. There was the choreography. And then there was the section where all of, like when I say choreography, I mean choreography for the pyramid. Then there was another stage for the choreography for just the dancers.
Right.
So they can work out their stuff. They do, this is how the day would go. Dancers in one room working out their stuff. Band in another working out stuff. Editing, me dealing with, the MD, Derek Dixie, who just did an incredible job of getting all of this music together. And then there was the marching band, right?
Yeah.
And to get all of that stuff to punch through live, some of it had to be recorded, and then they played on top of it to make it fuller. Mm-hmm. But a lot of stuff had to be recorded, the horns, some of the snares, and things like that. Uh-huh. So all of that stuff had to be recorded and then put in my rig so I could play it back and. Okay, yeah, we're good with this, and dealing with the front of house engineer, monitor, and making sure our levels are right. Mm-hmm. So, and then B had to rehearse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is how Beyonce is so hands-on with everything. It's like her rehearsals, her vocal rehearsals don't really start until we're almost at the finish line. Mm. She rehearses her dance choreography more than anything, but she's always looking at lights, visual effects, choreography. I don't like this. That's dope. I don't like that. I thought that was cool, but I don't like that anymore. Let's change that. Her hands are deep in the production. Uh-huh. So it's intense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's really
Sounds
intense,
intense.
man. Yeah.
Separate rooms at the same time. It's not just one group of people.
We were. I don't know if I should say the actual place, but we were rehearsing on sound stages where they shoot movies.
Yeah.
And we had multiple sound stages.
Oh, okay.
Multiple.
Yeah.
They were gigantic too, right?
Oh yeah, gigantic sound stages.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We're talking about where they
Just
shoot
set
movies.
piece.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was the rehearsal space was epic. Yeah, yeah, it was crazy.
Very interesting.
And then you have the whole wardrobe aspect. I forgot about that too.
Yeah.
The whole wardrobe
costumes
thing.
and stuff, right?
Yeah. You saw how many people were up there, and they had multiple changes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not the band in the marching band and the core band pretty much had the same outfits, but the dancers they switched up a lot.
Yeah.
Beyonce switched up a lot, so it's serious, man. It's a serious thing.
Wow.
Woo!
How long was that show?
A little over 2 hours.
A little over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Wow. That
Yeah.
6 months to get 2 hours, right? Yeah.
Right.
That's what it takes, though.
Yeah, and you're out in the desert.
Yeah.
And it's hot as hell.
Coachella. Yeah.
It's hot as hell. Yeah.
But it's a legendary performance. It'll never be forgotten.
Yeah,
I mean, all of it was just like, oh, okay, this is in the record books right there.
It's gonna be hard to top.
That's Diana Ross in Central Park style. I mean, it's like nothing.
Epic.
It's epic. You know?
Right. Everything Beyonce is epic.
Like,
and you're part of it, Kwiz.
I'm fortunate.
Generation's version of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing bigger. It's like, wow, how do you top that? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wow, that's amazing to be a part of it and knowing people in this camp. So wow. So as far as gear that you've been using lately,
and on
or what was there gear
Beyonce,
that you used on the Beyonce homecoming stuff that you're still vibing with, or like what's your...
I'm a big fan of Motu products.
Oh yeah.
So I was using, they're still in the rig. I'm using Motu 24 AOs. So it's like 24 outputs, analog, or it could be digital via ADAT or whatever. And people, every once in a while people are like, why do you, now that Maddie is out, and how come you still analog? Oh, it sounds good. Like, I don't, like, why switch up if it doesn't, if I don't need to. Now, eventually, I'll probably have to go Maddie, because, some of these front of house guys want to just all do all digital. And the Maddie runs would be simpler.
Just one cable.
One cable. The issue with Maddie, though, is the AB switcher, from switching from one rig to the next. If you have if one rig goes down, you have the automatic switch. There's a company in Germany, I believe, that makes a pretty good one, but I still have to do more research on how that particular switcher works, because I have a custom built switcher made by Paul Cox. It's a really expensive unit, but I have like a Class A headphone preamp in it. I have redundant SMPTE in it, redundant power supplies. Like, it's really like all in one box. It's two units, rack units high, and this thing does everything that I needed to do. So even when I'm editing offline, I don't have to tell the front house engineer, yo, I need you to mute my outputs or whatever. I can cut to the front of the house. I can cut to monitor world, and I can just literally monitor all inside this unit. You can't do that with Maddie switchers. So I would have to get the Maddie switcher and then get some other device that would get all of that Maddie information, but allow me to monitor. But Motu has a Maddie interface that, because of AVB.
Oh, AVB.
Because of AVB, I can do some routings and everything. It would be probably a little bit more tedious as far as setting it up, but once it's set up, you're good.
You're good to go.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm pretty much Motu when it comes to interfaces, but I use other interfaces in my studio as well for different purposes. But yeah.
Yeah, but for road use and reliability, Motu.
Yeah, it's reliable.
Yeah.
It's just super reliable. Yeah.
Yeah, for a show like we just talked about, so you need reliability. What else is in your rig?
The touring rig?
Yeah, yes.
Motu, the Paul Cox switcher. I use for time code. I use oh my God, I could see the thing. I got to get back to that. I can't remember.
Big Band?
No. I don't use Big Band anymore. I don't need the clock. No, you know. It was cool. I have one in my studio because everything is clocked to that. But on the road, I found that it didn't really make that big of a difference.
Okay.
But hard drives, I use all OWC.
Yeah.
All OWC.
We do too.
You know, that's just, again, reliability.
Mm-hmm.
I've been using OWC since, before I even started with Beyonce. So I'm talking about like 2001. 2002. The very first time I saw that company, because they specialize in making peripherals and stuff for Macs. I was like, let me check them out. Yeah. And I bought a drive. Lasted years. Still have it. Still works. You know what I mean? I must have about 30 drives from them.
You put them to work though, right?
Oh yeah. 30 external. I mean, their products are dope, man. You know what I mean? So,
agreed.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
We can speak to that as well.
Yeah.
But their SSD stuff. We
RAM.
Yeah, the RAM.
Right.
Yeah.
You have dongles, right? You have thumb drive.
Yep, I have all of that. Like I can open my knapsack and probably pull out 4 drives from OWC.
Yeah.
Because I just walk around with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I might need
portable.
to do something right. You know what I mean? And they're dope.
Yeah.
But OWC, Stealth Sonics.
Oh.
The IEMs.
So I'm wearing them now.
Yeah, I see you.
To monitor.
And I have mine right here. So
Right.
yeah.
Stealth Sonic IEMs, man. Like that's the next thing. You know what I mean? That's going to be added to that. I mean, because they sound incredible.
Yeah.
And the ones that I have, like I've never used any other IEM to check mixes on. You know what I mean?
But these,
I'm like, yeah, I need to put on my Stealth Sonic and see what this thing sounds like. Oh shoot, I need to change. You know what I mean? And then when I literally Stealth Sonics, like they for me changed my opinion on using IEMs in the studio. I never thought IEMs in the studio. I ain't with that. You know what I mean? Because I need to hear the air. I need. But when you put those in, it's like, oh, detail.
the detail.
The detail is what I'm getting from those that I never got from any other IEMs. Exactly. And now I believe in, okay, you have the right IEMs for studio use, they they're dope. I'm not talking about studio like you're just, okay, you're gonna put in IEMs and you're gonna record a vocal. I'm talking about for critical listening, for mixing and recording.
Yes. Yeah.
Stealth Sonics, man.
Agreed. Oh yeah, tell us the story about your wife as well. So when I got the Stealth Sonics, I was telling Tiff, like, yo, these things sound incredible. Like, these are dope. Like, you got to get a pair, you know what I mean? And we made some arrangements, and she got, we both got molded at the same time. Mm-hmm. And then when she finally got hers, she was like, I'm using these every day. Like just for regular, casual listening when she's listening to music and chilling. She has her
for
stuff.
A jog.
You know what I'm saying? She's chilling with her Stealth Sonics. And I'm like, those are supposed to be for work, right? Like, these are not, these things, you know what I mean? Like, but she uses them every single day. So she just started today. She just started rehearsals for Black Girls Rock. And this morning she was like, I get to use my Stealth Sonics for the first time in a pro gig. Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, yo, let me know what's going on. Like, how's it, but I know they sound, I know what they're going to be.
Yeah.
Like, the seal is right.
Seal is real cute.
You know what I
real
mean?
Cute. The seal
the seal is right.
Negative 36 dB.
That's crazy.
Noise reduction on those things
That's
on
crazy.
that seal. It's just
that's crazy.
I was the same about front of house mixing. It was like, oh no, I don't need IEMs. I was I'm good. I have the speakers here for that, or I'll use the cans.
Right.
And then I'm like smushing the cans into my ears because I can't hear what's going on.
Right, you can't hear the detail. You're like, yo, there's too much room. I can't
noise environment.
I fit these things into a Zoom recorder, and I'm like, oh, ooh, I hear. I
mean, yeah. Where? How come I didn't have these before? You know what I mean?
Hold on. Mm-hmm. Even into the console, like when I'm mixing now, that's just on deck. Like it's like, okay, do I hear everything? When I can hear what's going on through my ears and through the speakers, I'm like. Right. Okay, I'm in a good mixing space. Right. Like now, I'm in where I want to be.
Right.
So yeah, I was just like, okay, this is it. That's it for cans,
for convenience too. I mean, laptop
and convenience.
Stelsonics, you can make. Do you believe you can mix and master album on just a laptop and?
I have mixed opinions about it. Mm-hmm. Do I think it's possible? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Do I think it's the best thing to do? Not all situations. Mm-hmm. If you're mixing, and this is just my opinion, if you're mixing, for instance, like you guys do Christian McBride, now you have a jazz situation, you have like a quartet or maybe 5-piece or whatever, but if it's a live situation, and you have the air to consider, the ambience of the space to consider, I would bounce between the two. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're doing some like EDM or some hip hop or some pop music that's just pretty much damn near limited to death type because you just got to have that energy, you know what I mean? I could see it happening. I could see you just like on a plane, like, yeah, this is gonna work. You know what I mean? I got to get this mix done quickly. I could see that happening. Yeah. Just like I wouldn't do a jazz situation. I wouldn't do any classical music because I want to hear this and I want to hear this, and I can't hear this with those in my ear. Yeah. But it's possible for certain genres of music. Absolutely. I know people that have done it. Are doing it.
Yeah. That's why I asked because the frequency range is 18 hertz to 40 kilohertz.
I know
it covers a lot.
I know. I mean, stuff you're not going to hear anyway. But damn, the fact that you can get that frequency range in some IEMs and not hurt yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very pleasing experience when you listen, even to heavy bass.
Right. Yeah.
It's like it's softer to your ear.
That's a selling point for them. Not only are you going to get that top end, but the low end that you get out of those IEMs
with the seal,
unreal.
Yeah, that's why that seal comes in. Is like being able to hold in that low end,
right?
Because when you having some crappy, Apple buds,
right?
And you're like constantly pushing them in to get a little bit more volume out of it, and then that's why it goes that I forget the exact measurement. It goes a little bit further than most in-ears into the ear canal. Mm-hmm. So now I don't have to turn up my volume full blast on my phone
and hurt yourself. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And then I have a sore ear and having a headache. It's.
I'm late to the party when it comes to using soft clippers, plugins. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I mean, like on when I used to use Apergy interfaces, there's a soft clip button that you can kick in. You know what I mean? But I never used the soft clipping plugin, so I started experimenting using soft clipping on 808 kicks.
Which one? What plugin?
It's made by oh my god, I think it's a German or a Russian company. Event Horizon.
Oh, okay.
Event Horizon. You ever check out that?
Event Horizon.
Yeah, we've heard
It's,
of it.
it's like inexpensive plug-in.
Yeah.
But I put it on the first time I used it, I experimented with it on this 808, and that thing the type of clipping that it does can be pleasing if you don't overdo it. But I had the Stealth Sonic ears in just to see what kind of detail I got, and it was like, oh, this is dope. Like I'm literally, it was like listening through a microscope. If that makes sense,
yes.
you know what I mean?
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I want from this 808. And then I put it up, I took them out and I put it up on my monitors, and I was like,
boom,
that's it.
this is it.
That is it. You know what I'm saying? So for the studio, yeah, they're dope.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and that brings us right out of that air that you hear with the cables, with the wire world cables.
Yeah.
That
y'all
was
put
what
me
we
on. Dennis was selling me heavy on this, and I'm like,
okay,
all right, I know you gotta have some DC cables. I have some DC cables hooked up to my mouth. I'm a big fan of Atom Audio, so I have the A7Xs, and I have the older
The
S3As.
Focusrite bought Adam, you know that, right?
Did they? You bought? I didn't know. When they do that?
A month ago, maybe.
Oh wow, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Are they still using the Atom team that developed the?
Not sure.
Yeah, not sure yet.
Not sure on
It's gonna
that.
be interesting to see what direction they go. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But that's cool.
Uh-huh.
That is a cool thing. Focusrite is a great company. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah,
I have Focusrite stuff too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
If you've seen our page, you know we mess with them.
right.
So.
Focusrite is dope.
Yeah, Claret. We're going through Claret right now. So yeah.
My man Chris, you know Chris.
Oh,
Chris,
heck
yeah.
yeah. Shout out to Chris.
Shout out to Chris.
Yeah.
And thank you, Chris.
Oh yeah. Cause that's right. I plugged
We
y'all
started
with Chris.
relationship.
Yeah.
Chris
But Chris
Mays,
is,
yeah.
I gotta hit Chris up and
Yeah.
see like, okay, what's going on? Like, but yeah. I mean, Focusrite makes dope stuff.
Yeah.
But what was the point of?
Cables.
Oh, the cables.
Yeah.
So I remember y'all came over to the studio and you were like, yo, these Wild World joints, and I'm like, okay, I'll try them out, but I can't, whatever. I don't know how much a power cable, how much difference a power cable is gonna make to my speakers, and we plugged them
It did.
in, and I was
Now
like,
you have your own,
yeah.
don't you?
Yeah, I just remember going, "Oh shit!" Like, yo, I hear a little bit more definition. Like, this is great. A power cable was doing this. Like, what the hell? Like, this is like, nah. Maybe it's psychoacoustic. Maybe I'm bugging out. But it was like, and then when I got my own, I got some from my Adams for both pair, and I was like, yeah, this is different.
Right?
Pulling up old mixes and going, oh, that could have been better. Now that I hear this, you know what I mean? Like, like especially on the low ends, you know what I mean?
Low
Like,
end.
it brought out some low end detail that I didn't have before.
Again,
So,
like you said, listening through a microscope.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
critical listening of like,
Right,
okay.
right.
When you can hear it, you can fix it, but when you can't hear it.
What's crazy? I was thinking about Wild World the other day because, like I told you were thinking about moving, right? And I'm going to build another studio, and I was like, man, I wonder if I did the whole studio with just Wild World cables, what would that sound like? You know what I mean? That's going to be a pretty pricey
Install.
but hey, it might be worth it. You know what I'm saying? I know it's going to be worth it. It's just like, wow, like, what is that going to sound like? That might be like amazing.
A whole piece of all analog gear you have. Imagine that.
That's what I'm saying.
Man,
Like my,
Your
all
patch bay, your
my entire patch bay,
Oh.
all my outboard gear.
Oh yeah, that's straight up the dream for it. Yeah, that's well, I mean, we have a small version of that with all of
Another
our
room.
gear.
Yeah,
It's pretty much all Wire World.
Dope.
So, like I was saying, we don't even have a sub in here, but
Right. Because you were saying you don't really need it, right? Right. That's crazy.
I mean, when you hear it,
Yeah.
you'll be like, what? Like,
Yeah.
You start looking for like really
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's so the definition is just there on
Yeah.
even a small pair of powered speakers. It was this 8-inch
Right.
and
5.
5.
6.5.
Yeah, that was a 5.
Yeah,
man,
after we
where-
finish, it's just I gotta hear that.
Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
mean, yeah, it's.
And for all you people watching, listening, or whatever, this is no hype. This is not like, oh, let's gas up Wild World, let's gas up OWC, let's like everybody that knows me, they know like I don't talk about anything that I don't literally use, and you guys too.
Yeah.
Like, cause you got like I put you guys on the stuff, you put me on the stuff, and we're both like, oh,
Oh yeah.
like, oh, okay. Because like I say, when you came with the wire cables, I was like, yeah, whatever. Okay, I'll try it, whatever.
Everybody does, and I'm
Yeah.
like, it makes your job easier and quicker and more enjoyable.
Right.
It's just like, oh, I got that where I want it that much quicker.
Quicker, yep.
Boom. Next
Yep.
mix.
Yep.
Next, more time with your family.
Right.
More money. More time on another mix.
Right.
It's like, that's all. I don't need to. We don't need to sell this. We get to do this for a living. But these are
Right.
just ways that we figured out how to make out to get it on a Beyonce level. You can't just roll in, excuse me, but with Behringer.
Right.
I mean,
Bruh.
that gets you started.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing against Behringer. I mean, I still got one in my car right now, just in case.
Yeah.
You gotta have a little
backup, just in case.
little backup 4-channel just in case.
Yeah.
But that's not gonna get you if you're trying to do this for a living.
Right.
Where you want to be.
Yeah. Behringer and certain other companies are like, okay, I need you to come off the bench for a second because
Yeah.
my star needs a break. You know what I mean?
So true.
You know what I mean? But you're going to just come off the bench just for a second.
Yes.
Until I can get my star back out
Yeah,
there.
until I can, we get this together.
Right.
But nothing against them because that's how you learn. That's how
principle,
because if you learn that, you get to focus right. It's nothing. It's just something
Sounds
with
better,
gain.
works better.
Yeah.
Everything
It's
is better,
not,
but same thing.
But you learn off of that. So
Right.
so no diss against that. And this is advanced equipment, but we're dealing with advanced Grammy Award winning clientele.
Right.
You can't roll in
6 months of rehearsals, guys,
for
For
two
two
shows.
for 2 shows.
Yeah. That's where it's at.
So this is we don't
meaning
need
you
the
have to
hype.
turn the gear every day for 6 months.
Say it again.
You turn your rig for 6 months nonstop, and you take it to the show, and it works, and it continue working. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why you do it.
The only time I had problems and it was scary as hell was when we were rehearsing at Coachella, and it was 115 degrees that day.
Oh,
And originally, Monitor World and my gear, we were in a tractor trailer with portable ACs.
See, of course.
But those ACs couldn't handle it.
they went off.
No, it was just so
Too
hot
hot. Oh, damn.
in that tractor trailer that it couldn't cool the
all
space
that
down.
gear. Yeah.
All that because the gear is generating
Yeah.
all this heat.
Yeah, that
Especially
gear.
the monitor world gear was generating a lot of heat. So all those racks were getting hot. The sun was beaming down on the trailer. It's 115 outside. So I don't know what it was inside the trailer, but it definitely had to be in the mid 90s. It was around that. And
That's hot.
That's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and my gear got so hot that during playback it started sputtering like it was just like wow. And then everybody was like, yo, what's going on? And I was like, this thing is cooking. We got to shut down. Like, we cannot do this anymore. And then plus the dancers were out there and they were like dying. You know what I mean?
I know,
Like, you know what I mean?
115 degrees.
Right, you know what I mean? And even Beyonce was like, "Yeah, this is that's it. We're done." You know,
Okay,
you know what I mean?
okay.
Like,
when she called,
when she called it, everybody was like, "Thank God." Like, but
you like everybody looking at her like,
you know what I mean? It was like, yo,
That's
thank
fair,
you.
yo. That's fair.
But it was so hot that we couldn't stay in the truck. We had to take all of our gear out the truck and then find a place on stage, backstage. And it was like tight because, you know, all the other acts that are. So, and it was an unplanned move. So that made it kind of tense. But once my gear cooled down and everything was on stage, we were fine. But it was scary because it was like, yo, if this happens during the show, this is going to be a disaster. You know, because this is all being filmed for Netflix.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so that was touch and go. But once we got that worked out, and then plus, you know, by the time we performed, it was nighttime, and it got cooler outside.
Okay.
But still, it was like, man, this sucks, man. This heat, man. And you know, I don't care how good of gear you have.
Yeah.
At a certain point, the operational temperature is what it is. It's like it tells you in the manual, do not operate this beyond this. You know, if you're 100 degrees outside or whatever, because your gear is generating heat too. You know what I mean? So,
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that was scary. But yeah, besides that, you know, everything has been great.
Yeah.
Here, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and yeah, dealing with the clientele that you're dealing with, they're gonna make sure every part of that, like what needs to happen, okay, and boom, it's not a whoa no, let's see if it's gonna get cooler later, you know, you know, it's like no, we can't even,
we can't do this.
Yeah.
And the one thing I would say, like, because Beyonce and I sometimes we bump heads because we're both Virgos. She's an ultra perfectionist. I'm a semi-perfectionist or whatever. And sometimes we'll bump heads about how we go about doing things. But the thing that I know is she trusts me. Like if I say certain things like, this is what it is and this might not work. And then she'll look at me and yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay. You know what I mean? But, man, that girl knows, that woman, I should say, she's into everything. Like, she's knowledgeable about the whole thing. So you can't pull any. Like, I've been in production meetings and I hear people like spinning, like, it's like, oh, you getting ready to just weave yourself into a trap, man. Because, you know what I'm saying? Man, you're not going to be able to get out, man. Like, because her thing is, she'll hit you with the, well, you know, like, let's say, this light right here, yo, it can only go to X amount of lumens or whatever. Why? Well, it's because, but meanwhile, she knows it can get, you know, it can get brighter or it can change a different shade or whatever. Well, you know, it's because of the way the software works. But I don't understand why. Because I've seen those type of lights do this before, so why? Explain to me why this can't do it. And the next thing you know, you see the person backtracking like, well, I guess I can probably, you know, and it's like, yo, I'm telling you, don't try to pull the wool over her eyes because she'll catch you. I don't know if she's at home reading manuals. I don't know what she's doing. You know what I mean? I don't know what she's doing. But I know you cannot bullshit her. You know what I mean? And I respect that. Thing
goes magenta on her.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You know what I mean?
But she's getting that knowledge from somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I respect it.
I mean,
it, man.
You think that's what makes her so brilliant? Because she's getting all the piece of information, digested and applying in her work, right?
Right. I don't literally think she's
taking
reading
manuals.
But she's definitely like, she's a sponge. You know, she takes in information and she holds it. You know what I mean? She knows when to be like, okay, boom. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's an interesting situation over there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So you got to really know your stuff with her.
Your stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. You can't. Can you? You can't.
You can't, Kurt.
No,
you
can.
You can.
Yes, I kind of. I usually do, but.
Okay.
So what's next? Kwiz, what you working on?
Well, I'm working on my wife's album.
Okay.
Tiffany Monique. She's gonna put out her first album. She put out an EP like a few years ago, but now we're doing an album.
Yeah.
I'm working on some stuff with a couple of other artists. I'm working with there's a couple of artists that are connected to Wu-Tang. They're Wu-Tang affiliates, but one of them is named Dr. Amma Fuji. He has a couple of AKAs, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But I just finished recording vocal. I'm making about 10 or 11 songs. And I'm going to start mixing that project soon. It was produced primarily by Vic Flowers. He's out in Germany, but he would send in music and stuff like that, and Fu would approve or whatever, and then we just record all the vocals at my spot. And Vic just sent me all the multi-track files about 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to start mixing that project soon. And
Nice.
So 11 songs, how long would it take for you to mix 11 songs?
I usually do a song a day.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And in this particular case, I might be a little bit faster because it's not like it's a bunch of tracks, because it's a hip hop project. So it's,
Okay.
you know, and I do a lot of, even when I'm recording, I do a lot of pre-mixing. Like I did a lot of pre-mixing on his vocals, even adding vocal effects and things
okay.
like that.
Yeah.
You know, even because the stuff that I recorded was just to a 2-track. But I just got his multis like about 2 weeks ago. But I haven't even started with the multis yet. You know what I mean? But I'll start like, because, you know, after we do a session, whatever, you know, the artist wants to hear their stuff. Oh, can you send me a reference or whatever? Yeah. So before I send him a reference, I start putting it together like this is what it potentially will sound like for real. You know what I mean? And, you know, I get to, oh, that's dope, like, or whatever. I can't wait till you mix the whole thing. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's cool.
What's your main tools for that? What do you use software wise?
My main DAW is Digital Performer, and then I use all kinds of plugins, man. Slate Digital, Plugin Alliance, Sound Toys, Waves, you name Sonable. You know, like, you ever use Sonable?
We've met them at NAM.
Yeah, we haven't used them.
Their Smart EQ and their Smart Comp is pretty cool.
Oh, right.
I'm a gear slut. So,
I know, right?
You know what I mean? So
but that's for work, hey.
Yeah.
You made it work, you make money.
Right. And then on UA audio, I use a lot of their plugins. So.
Do you record
Yes.
with their plugins to tape, right?
Unison. I use their Manly Vox box, and I record vocals through that.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yo, it's crazy because I use the Vox box primarily for just the compression. You know what I mean? I don't really use the de-esser on that, but I really like what it does recording in. You know what I mean? Because with UA, you have the option of monitoring through the plugin or actually
recording
committing
through.
to it. And I with the Vox box, I commit to it, and I've been getting great results.
Oh, wow.
And with Slate Digital, I use the virtual mic system. Have you guys checked that out?
Oh,
well, I'm familiar with
it. We're very familiar with it. Yeah.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
So you put your favorite mic through Slate, right?
Yeah. Right. Like when it comes to hip hop vocals, I'm kind of like, I lean towards the Telefunken 251 and the Sony 800G.
Yeah.
And because the 800G is really bright, but you got to tame it a little bit. But that vocal cuts through. You know what I mean? It's nice and present. You know what I mean? And, I like it. I like it a lot. And I have some pretty decent mics. Like I have some manly reference mics and stuff like that. You know, but it's like, I don't think I need the manly for this. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
Okay. Hey, why not?
Yeah, and it's quick.
Yeah.
And you can switch like
choices.
Yeah, it's like, let me try this mic on. Let me try this one. That's it.
I like that.
It's
options.
dope. I love it.
Yeah. Shout out.
Wait, what did you use on Black Light Chronicles?
I used a combination of the manly. I know on TIFF I was using the manly a lot. I used Audio Technica 4060 tube mic on a couple of the hip hop artists, and I think I used the slate on a couple of artists, but I'm not exactly sure because I know the Manly was up a lot of times in the ATM. I mean the ATM, the AT 4060 was up a lot. You know, because I think at that point I had just got the slate, and because I was in serious record mode, I didn't want to experiment at that point. You know what I mean? So if I did use it, it was probably on one song. You know what I mean? Yeah, towards the end of the.
Where did you record instrumentation? At your studio?
Yeah,
I hear bass.
Everything.
Did you record live drums or you programmed everything?
You know, I have a electronic set. Yamaha set.
Oh, yeah.
So I just played my electronics.
Yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I'm asking because it sounds like a drummer playing. It's not.
Yeah, no, I was playing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I
you load the library, right? And
well, in the particular drums you heard were literally the stock drums out of that
really?
module.
Oh wow, they sound.
Thanks.
Yeah, punchy. And,
you have to go back to I think the first time you did the podcast to get the full story on you playing. So yeah. Yeah. Great story. But yeah.
I started playing a little bit more like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to practice now a little bit. You know what I mean? Just because it's fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right?
Like I love playing the drums, so it's like why not practice for real? You know what I mean? But yeah, you know it's cool.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you start rehearsals with Beyoncé soon, or what's the?
I'm supposed to be. Well, I'm actually waiting for some information this week because she's supposed to do Global Citizen, the Global Citizen show.
Summer. Is it in the summer?
No, it's like in September.
It's in Central Park.
Central Park. Oh, okay. It's September. Oh.
So we might be. I might be going out to LA to rehearse for that soon, but I don't know the dates yet. And all that stuff. So we're gonna probably rehearse out there because she
keeps going though, right?
Yeah, man, she got her hands in everything. So I'm just like, call me when you need me. Like, you know what I mean? So, you know, but yeah, I mean that's probably the next big thing I do.
Yeah.
You know, and then if she tours next year, maybe I'll be involved. You know, see what happens. You know.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you've had quite an incredible run with her, so I mean, let's just keep it going.
Right. Why not, right?
Exactly. And thank you, Kwiz, for coming on.
No, it's all good. Thank you for asking me, man. I appreciate
it. Finally.
Yeah, it means a lot coming over to Jersey to. Even though you hear a lot. So
I live in Jersey. I live in Jersey. I live in New York too.
Yeah, you gotta got to split.
Yeah, I'll bounce back and forth. Yeah. So
yeah. So thanks for stopping by, dropping more knowledge as usual. Every time I get up with you, I feel like I've learned something new, and it's like, oh, now I gotta try that. Okay.
There's always room to improve.
Kwiz said so. Let me go on there.
The learning thing is bi-directional. I get stuff from y'all, you know what I mean? So it's like, hey, it's all good. I love it. I mean, and you got to share knowledge. Why not? You know what I mean?
And this is what this podcast is for, is to let you know what's going on at the highest levels to what you can afford to what you can't afford.
Right.
Because, I mean, we've all been there on all the levels.
No doubt.
So thank you, everyone, for listening. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I keep wanting to say iTunes. We're on iHeartRadio, all the good stuff, YouTube. Listen to us. Oh, Kwiz, what's the best way to get in touch with you? And
well, you can check me out on my website, www.kwiztronic.com, and you can email me at the same kwiztronic@gmail.com. And, hit me up.
Nice.
Just don't hit me up like 12 midnight.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Yeah. Be respectful. That's all I did. I was just like, hey, Kwiz, You recording? I like to see something. But
I forgot about that. That was
yes.
How many years ago was that?
That was 8 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yes. I was even working at Claire then. I was like only doing live at the time. So
Right.
it's just, but I said, you're going to your studio. I was like, this is nice. This is okay. I hadn't really done the studio thing at the time.
Right.
Since school.
Right.
So that planted a seed that 8 years ago to now being here. And so
I can tell you right now, just seeing you guys' control room, and like I tell you, once I walked in, what did I say?
What do you say?
About
good.
how does
Feels good. Yeah, it feels good. You feel the energy, right?
The energy felt beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, so you guys need to check out their studio if you need to do some work. Like, get some nigga Dennis Fairly to mix you some stuff. Like, y'all need to come by here, man. This is nice, man.
Thank you.
Thank
Let's go. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Keep going after it. Let's go.
Let's go. Thank you, Kwiz.
Thank you.